Hi everyone, welcome to another episode today of Everything Tax by Andersen in the UAE. Today we have an interesting topic. So as we progress into another day in the ever-evolving tax landscape in the UAE, there are certain updates and guidances that have been provided by the FTA over the course of these few months. One very, very important update that did come about very recently is the update of accessibility of your FTA portal through the application of the UAE Pass. Now the UAE Pass will be implemented for login to the FTA portal effective from 30th of September 2024. Now this comes with a lot of implications, and today we have a very, very special guest here today, Mr. Kanval Ashar, with the Advanced Inhalation Rituals group, also known as Al-Fakr. He is a tax expert with over 10 years of experience in the field, and thank you so much for being here, Kanval.
Thanks for the kind introduction, Rishi, and thanks for inviting me to this podcast today.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, Kanval, let's dive right in. Now, there are some procedural aspects that need to be taken care with respect to the entire transition of the UAE Pass with respect to the FTA portal. So can you brief us on the procedure that needs to be followed, or how is it going to be implemented going forward?
Sure. So to start with, login into the government portals through UAE Pass is not a completely new concept in UAE. It has already been implemented for various government services. For example, for the ESR portal.
Right.
So it has been implemented or mandated for logging into the ESR portal for undertaking the ESR compliances. And now the FTA needs to mandate this or wants to mandate this for logging into the Emirates tax portal for tax compliances.
Understood.
In terms of the process, I would say there are a lot of misconceptions on what exactly the process will be. One of the most common misconceptions which even we had is that only the UAE Pass account of the authorized signatory needs to be linked to the FTA portal or the Emirates tax portal.
Understood.
So just imagine that after it is mandated and any business user, any employee needs to access the Emirates tax portal, especially for excise tax compliances. Just imagine the number of approval requests that the authorized signatory may get on a daily basis.
So it would be a case where there would only be one access, that to the authorized signatory, who is usually a very senior most person in the organization.
Exactly, and it may become so overwhelming for him just to give the access on a daily basis.
Right.
So that's not the case. In fact, the FTA has released an user manual which provides very clear guidance in terms of what the steps will be for linking the UAE Pass with the Emirates tax portal. Right. I'll not go in the detailed steps, etc. what the exact was. It's already there in the manual.
Right.
But in summary, any business user, which means any employee of the company, will be required to use or link their own UAE Pass account with the company's Emirates tax portal or the Emirates tax account.
Yeah.
Which will be a one-time linking. So once the account is linked for that particular business user or employee, the next time they want to log in, they just need to put their mobile number and provide the access through their UAE Pass app, and they're right into the portal.
Understood. That's very interesting. So there are procedural aspects that need to be taken care of in terms of this transition. Now, tell me about you working in quite a large and robust organization such as Al-Fakr, right? I'm sure there would be some consideration in terms of planning and implementation of this change. There are a lot of key aspects to basically manage across this transition. So tell me some of your thoughts on how you plan to effectively manage this transition.
Well, to be honest, it is a much bigger change than it appears to be in the first instance.
Right.
So, for example, in our organization, especially for excise tax compliances, there are various business users representing different business functions. For example, someone from logistics, production, warehousing, etc.
Right.
Who needs to access the portal almost on a daily basis.
Right.
Okay, so there are a lot of steps that we need to take or undertake before they can access the portal through the UAE Pass app. So firstly, we need to prepare a list of all the users who are currently accessing the portal or who need access to the portal. Second, we need to ensure that they have downloaded the UAE Pass app on their devices.
Right.
They have created the UAE Pass profile for themselves.
Yes.
We link all their UAE Pass accounts with the company's Emirates tax portal or the account.
Yeah.
And finally, train them on how they need to access the Emirates tax portal after it is mandated, like you mentioned, from 30th September this year.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think from an industry perspective, when you're in a company, that's something that you definitely need to start now and integrate those steps that you need to take to manage this transition, because you could say September is far away, but it never is, right?
Definitely.
Time always flies, and at the end of the day, you don't want to have those last-minute panics, last-minute headaches, and ultimately, it's important to remember FTA portal is the integrated platform that all your tax responsibilities go into. It's your ability to meet those tax obligations itself. So exactly. Planning becomes very important. Right?
Very, very important. In fact, that was the point I was going to mention, that you don't start 10 days or 7 days before 30th September.
Right.
It's a much bigger change, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
You need to plan at least a month or 2 months in advance with all these steps which I just mentioned.
Right.
And even plan for contingencies. For example, if one particular employee or user is not available on that day, we have alternative UAE Pass accounts which are linked to the portal, so that there are no bottlenecks in accessing the portal, which you rightly mentioned that we cannot hinder the compliances to be done.
Exactly. And I think overall, if you were to paint a word or essential theme to this change in terms of the FTA's intention, I think it's just a single word, which is accountability, right?
Yes.
So the entire change is driven by the concept of accountability. And I mean, we've discussed the industry side of it, but even from the consultant side, say myself, I think it's very important to remember that this is a concept that the FTA has been driving, but it's the importance of tax agency, right? The entire concept that tax agents are kind of held morally and have responsibility to be in the shoes of a client in terms of their rights and their tax obligation.
Yes.
And I think what this change is also driving to is to ensure that consultants, whenever they're assisting a client with their tax obligations and everything, it should be a case where there should be a limitation where whatever they're doing is done under the supervision of a client, right? Because that accountability needs to be there. And this change also promotes the fact that consultants should ideally be logging in through the client's portal, etc. if you're a tax agent. Otherwise, it should be done under supervision of the client itself. So I think this change is, again, gearing towards a very centralized platform where accountability plays a crucial role.
Absolutely. I think the main intention which I got from this change is that the FTA wants to make the business users or at the max tax agent responsible or accountable when they're logging into the portal.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a very important and significant change that taxpayers need to start thinking about now. So do you have any final thoughts on the topic?
Final thoughts, I would like to repeat again, it's a much bigger change than it appears to the eye. I've experienced it myself. So you need to start well in advance before you can transition to the UAE Pass login for the Emirates tax account.
Right. Mitigate those contingencies and ensure the compliances are smooth as ever. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kanval, for your valuable insights. It was a pleasure having you here.
Pleasure as well.
And don't forget to follow us on our social media channels. We'll come back to you with another episode. Until then, thank you.
Thank you.